Insoms, what is cracking? It's been a while, a few weeks, maybe a month, 6 weeks, I don't know. But yeah, it's been a while. I guess I could take my hood off, right? It's not so important here. But I hope you all have been good. I hope you all have been taking incremental steps towards y'all's goals every day. I actually came across a subreddit called No More 0 Days. I guess this Reddit post blew up just because some guy spread his word like I'm trying to spread mine. Basically, just his message was no more 0 days. You know, you set goals, and every day, no matter how small a step, you work towards that goal. Pretty basic concept. And, I'm glad that it blew up, and I'm glad that people got the message, and I'm glad they created a whole new subreddit for him for people. And so, yeah, so I hope you all have been doing that, working hard. This isn't going to be long, like they haven't been recently, right? Short and sweet to the point. Lots of crazy shit going on in politics these days. Trump is under like 6 investigations. We've had, this is going to be our 3rd chief of staff. It's an interim one for now because he can't find one because nobody wants to do the job. And yeah, the politics world is just too crazy. I still somewhat follow it, but not as deeply as before, just because it's too much. It's like I told my buddy, it's outrage fatigue. They just want you to be outraged at every little thing, so that way when something serious happens, it just seems like it's no big deal. But so that's what I look out for mostly, is the serious things. Like I read through Michael Cohen's what was it called, the thing Mueller dropped about him, the statement about what he did, stuff like that. But anyways, yeah, I read that whole document. It was only like 7 or 8 pages. It wasn't very long. And but yeah, it's just what you got to do, right? You go out and seek the source. Don't just take these YouTube videos at face value. Especially the crazy ass ones where people just have these conspiracy theories. But anyway, that's to keep this video short. Little update for myself. I just hit page 58 in my book. Page 58 in my book. What the fuck? I upped the spacing. I think I said last time I told y'all, wherever I was at. I was doing single spacing, but I upped it to 1.5 because that single spacing was just getting too hard to track where I was whenever I'd skip around and would I want to add stuff and stuff like that. So I went to 1.5 spacing, and when I print it, I'm going to double space it, so that way I do the initial proofread before anybody sees it. I have space to mark. So I've got to the point now, and this is why I'm here updating you all. I've got to the point now where just got to Fort Lewis, and I'm going to be a part of 5th Brigade. And I've been putting it off. It's funny because it was my whole motivation to write the book, is to tell the story about the unit. And basically, the whole reason I started this podcast, because, I started it on Memorial Day to honor the guys that we lost and to tell stories about the unit, and hope to have some guests on occasionally from the unit. But a lot of those guys don't like me. Just a handful of them do, because most of them think that my shoulder injury, my severely torn right labrum that took 3 anchors to repair, an injury that I had for 7 years, they thought I was faking it before we deployed to get out of deployment. And a lot of them I don't fault, you know, and I don't give a fuck what they think to begin with. But like the people who know me know I wouldn't do something like that. You know, and it's, you know, obvious now, right? After I saw an actual professional as opposed to an Army or VA doctor, that I was severely hurt. And so it was really all stupid, you know, because the most ironic thing was when I got the shoulder, I got hurt 4 months before I deployed. And the shoulder surgery had a 4 month recovery window. So had I got the surgery right away, I probably would have been good to deploy. And if not, I would have been there shortly after, especially because the first 6 weeks of the deployment was just getting over there and getting to fucking Frontenac. At least the first 6 weeks, probably. I don't know. It was just all a big blur. I have it written down in my book. Thankfully, I have written down so much more because, like I think I've showed y'all before, I have 12 pages typed here, or 12 pages printed here of single space. I mean, I can't flip through right now, but believe me, it's 12 pages single space. And I had a lot of stuff written in my book, my little green book. It's a lot of pages, and half of it was writing, but I thought a lot of that writing was that I had printed. So I'm looking it over it today because I'm finally at this point, right, to where I'm writing this book a decade later. And I fucking squared myself away. I had brainstorming already, ideas written down, boom, of what I wanted to write about. Of course, it's changed somewhat now, but it's still, I was like, damn, I'm set myself up for success in my little green book. And I also have to go through a hard drive because my hard drive from overseas, praying to God it still works, it should probably have more stuff that I typed that I didn't print. So not only do I have the stuff that I typed that I did print, I have stuff in my green book written down, a lot of stuff in my green book that I have written down. I mean, a lot of it's probably just rage-filled hate that I had in my heart that I needed to get out on paper, but it's going to be interesting going through that. And I potentially have a bunch of other pages that I was typing. Damn, I'm like 90% sure I do, because when I got kicked off the sniper team and I got put in the TOC to do 12 hours on, 12 hours off, a lot of times on my time off, if I wasn't watching anime, I was there at my bunk typing away. I like to say it was a lot anyways. Maybe it was just that I typed and printed, but I'd like to say that, you know, once I got kicked off, I was like, I was writing in my green book while I was on the sniper team because I wasn't at a computer all the time. I wasn't 12 hours on, 12 hours off. I was fucking operating and patrolling. And so when I got kicked off the sniper team and got put fucking behind the radio and 12 hours on, 12 hours off shifts, I was like, well, I'm not going to write in my green book anymore. I'm just going to type because I can do that. So that's what I did. So there's potentially a lot of, I mean, this is just all deployment stuff too. And there's so much that happened in Garrison. But anyways, so lots of stuff to write about. I'm working hard every day to bring the story to y'all. And like I said, I don't even care about anybody reading it. It's really just something I've always wanted to do because I knew by seeing what was going on that since the beginning that it was wrong, that there were things going on that shouldn't have been allowed. And then when we got overseas to where we're in the middle of fucking nowhere, Afghanistan, with no way to tell anybody anything, basically, they just got out of control and did whatever the fuck they wanted to us out there. And so, yeah, and I don't know, I just need to stop talking about that shit because I can go on forever about it. So we'll talk about my patent now. I paid it off finally. Lawyer's gonna be working on it. But it's funny because I came up with a new design. I'm pretty sure I mentioned that last time too. I came up with a new design and I colored it with Sharpies that I bought. I played the patient game, right? I had been wanting to buy Sharpies, a big pack of multicolored Sharpies, like 10 to 15, because I wanted to colorize my patent drawings that I had sent, my new design and my old design, and colorize it and make it as clear as possible what I'm trying to point out to these people. And so I patiently waited to find a set of Sharpies on clearance, and I found a pack of like 21 Sharpies on clearance for $7 at Walmart. So I was pretty stoked that I had waited and not bought a fucking pack of 4 Sharpies for $7. So I got like 21 Sharpies or so for $7. So I had all kinds of colors to colorize this thing, so I did. And so I sent it to him, and I sent him in the email like, I hope my new design doesn't change our agreement, because I'm not trying to patent the design of my idea. I'm trying to patent the concept behind it, because if I was patenting the design of it, I would do a design patent. But I want to patent the utility of the idea. And so I sent him that. That was my most pressing question I had to him. I had other questions about trademarks and him, representing me if I ever needed representation for it and stuff like that. And so, but with my most pressing question, I sent it to him the night before. I spent way more time on it than I should have, because I sent it super late, because I had forgot to send it early that night instead of late that night. So I was super high, super tired, did it anyway, sent an email, and of course I don't want to sound like a jackass, so I'm there staring at the email forever, even though it's only an 70, 80 word email. Probably more than that, maybe like 150 word email at most. I don't know, it's a short email. But yeah, and I was just like, I hope this is okay and doesn't break our agreement, because this is what I want to patent, basically. And so when I talked to him, he was like, well, I don't have an answer for you. My engineer is on that right now, and he hasn't got back to me yet. And I was like, damn. Like, okay, well, I have other questions, but, and at the same time, I'm thinking, like, yeah, I can't believe he couldn't answer that question for me, because I would think he could, but I don't know. He had his engineer on it, which is cool, and it kind of made me feel special to have an actual real engineer looking into my stuff, right? My engineering concepts, have a real engineer looking into it. And so, it's my joke now, is like, I feel like a real engineer because I have a real engineer looking into my patent. So, I need to pack this dab while I'm here talking. That's what I've been meaning to do this whole time too. And so, yeah, it's paid for, lawyer talked to. Probably, in the agreement he said 6 to 10 weeks, but with holidays, I'm probably assuming 10 to 14 weeks. So, 3 months for now or so, I'll be able to show my insoms. But that's it, insoms. This might be the last Atpt of 2018. There's not very much time left, and my wife is going to have 12 days off from work. So I'm not going to work on the book or do anything during that time. So I have 4 days, these last 4 days this week for the rest of the 2018 year that I have to work on my book. So I'm gonna bust my, I've put it off, for probably a fucking week now. I've been dreading having to write about this shit because it's gonna bring back so much horrible, horrible things that we had to endure. But now I need to do it. There's no other way around it. In Psalms, I've been kind of a bad example in the last 4 days because I've just been dreading. I did not do anything. Well, I can't say I didn't do anything. I have been brainstorming. I started a timeline. So you see, trying to put myself down, but you always got to give yourself credit because I did work on it still. I did create a timeline for my entire life on 2 pages across so I could write out stuff that I've mentioned that is important and things that I maybe can think of that are important that I can throw just on the timeline and then go through the book and find it and edit. But yeah, back to the patent. 3 months, show it to y'all. Waiting for Voc Rehab. I messaged Voc Rehab and yeah, so now I get to go talk to them. On October 17th of last year was the last time I requested to talk to them, and I wasn't able to do it because my wife worked at Amazon, which was impossible to do anything when she worked at Amazon. So, this is it in Psalms. 2018, man, I turned that shit around with this. 2017 was such a horrible year. Late 2016, all of 2017. Basically, the best part of 2016 was me graduating in May, and that was it. I got $40,000 in back pay in October of 2016, and it was okay, but it wasn't great because we didn't have jobs, right? If we had jobs and income coming in, then it would have been great because I would have had $40,000 to invest instead of $10,000 to invest. Okay, well, maybe not 40, but I'd have like 25, 30. And then I wouldn't have had to have eaten into those investments because we would have had jobs instead of waiting around 7 months. So 2016 and all of 2017 in Psalms, it was the fucking worst time of my life in a very, very long time. And what hurt me the most was my daughters having to go through that with me. And so when we got into this house, after my daughter got over her pneumonia, it was getting towards the end of the year around this time. Fuck, I've already been here for 20 minutes. Well, in some of my phone's almost dead, 4%. It was supposed to be a short update. I know the holidays can be depressing for a lot of people like us. And especially this Thanksgiving. I didn't have a depressing Thanksgiving, but I had like an eye-opening Thanksgiving to where I'm just kind of done with all holidays. But that's another story for another time. Damn, that was a good hit. Grind away, find a way in Psalms. It's time to go dive into the depths of hell. Grind away, find a way. I love y'all. Peace.